mean, worst comes to worst, I just get a lot of usage on products that I really enjoy using. So there's really no losing here, but we want to win. So. It is the most dreary day outside today, and so I was trying to set up my ring light in some way that works. Unfortunately, it doesn't actually attach to my tripod. So, you know, baby YouTuber problems. I need light, and this is the best that we can do. And I'm just happy to be here today. This is the best time of the month. The best time of the month. It's Project Pan update time. All right, to start off my Project Pan update, I have a couple things that I wanted to switch around. About a week after I filmed my Project Pan intro, I started feeling a little bit overwhelmed. As I mentioned in that video, how I typically approach Project Pan is I just think of all the goals that I want to complete throughout the year, and then I let those products kind of flow freely through my life, and I keep track of the usage as I go, and my goal is just simply to complete those goals by the end of the year. Because this is my first year kind of keeping track of these things on YouTube, I thought that there might be a little bit of trial and error that needed to happen, and I was right. About a week after I had filmed the Project Pan intro, I realized that I wanted to work on some products that I hadn't introduced yet. So I kind of felt pulled between wanting to work on the products that I had introduced, because those are the ones that I wanted to update on, and wanting to work on these other products that I had goals for. So here's what I think I'm going to do, and this was actually a suggestion from one of you all. I'm going to break apart my current project and kind of form two projects. So one is going to be the products that I have either a finish goal or a pan goal with, and the other is going to be more of a usage Project Pan. So in this video, I'm going to update you on all of the products that I have pan goals and usage goals for. I'm also going to introduce all of the products to which that applies. So there's not going to be any rolling in this year. There's just going to be finishing goals. Am I right? Am I right? And in a separate video, I'll introduce all of my usage goals and update you on those over there. If I've already filmed that video, I'll go ahead and link it down below. All right, let's go ahead and get started with the update. In no particular order, first things first, we have the NYX Bear With Me, the Tinted Skin Veil. I have the shade Pale Light. As you can see in the picture, I have gotten a lot of use on this. I do think that when I took that initial photo, there was a lot of air in there and I was not trying hard enough to make it bend. So I don't necessarily think that the pictures are an accurate representation of how much product I've used this month, but I do have numbers for you. So because I introduced my project a little late, around the middle of January, these numbers just reflect 2 weeks of use. Maybe you could double them to get a gauge of how much use I might actually get in a full month. So for the NYX Bear With Me, I used this product 13 times. Overall, since I started counting my usage, I have used this product almost 200 times. So I don't imagine that we have much time left together. In this past 2-week period, I had 1 or 2 times where little puffs of air came out and I kind of had to do this. I think we're getting really close. I believe I could finish this in the next month or 2. Next up is the e.l.f. Stay All Night Microfine Setting Mist. This is the only setting spray that I have, so whenever I need one, this is what I reach for. As you can see, this is where it was marked before, and this is how much we have now. So I've definitely got a good amount of usage on it. In the past 2 weeks, it says that I've used it 18 times, which that math is not mathing, but I think probably there were situations where I used this to dampen my beauty blender, and then I also used it as a final step in my makeup routine. That's probably why we're seeing those numbers. Based off this amount of usage, I think I could probably finish it in the next 4 or 5 months. At the same time, I'm not in a rush because it's my only setting spray. I'm not hankering to get it out of my collection and have to buy something new. This is a utilitarian product, and so I use it when I need it. But I do think 4 or 5 months is probably an accurate gauge. Next is the Becca Under Eye Brightener. I have the shade Fair Light. My notes also say that I've used this one 18 times, and I think that that is probably because of filming. There are some days where I might have done my makeup in the morning, slapped a little bit of this on, and then washed my face and redone my makeup before I had to film. Also, this is a bit of a multi-purpose product for me. I use this for under eye brightening, but I also use it kind of to create a base for eyeshadow, so I think that's why we're seeing those numbers. You might not be able to tell how much the pan has expanded because I've really been trying to work down that outer ring and make that less thick. The center looks pretty similar, but the outside has definitely gone down. I think with this amount of usage, I'm probably looking at another 5 or 6 months. I like to plan for longer than it will be because makeup products always tend to take longer than you expect. So I imagine how long it will take and then I add like a month or 2 on top of that. All right, next up is the Nude Sticks Nudies All Over Face Color in the shade Bareback. I am very, very close to finishing this one. This is all that I have left. I'm not sure if you'll be able to tell a difference in the pictures because I didn't have very much last month and I don't have very much this month. I have used this product 12 times. I really enjoy layering blush, so the numbers with my blushes are not going to add up to like 1 blush used a day. I like to layer, I like to use blushes to create dimension, so maybe putting something darker out here or in the hollow, and then bringing some brightness into the center of my face with like lighter, more emollient blushes. So yeah, 12 times is how much I've used this one, and I think we're looking at 3 or 4 more months. Unless I ended up really focusing on this blush to kind of the neglect of my other ones, which I don't enjoy doing, I think 3 or 4 months is probably how much time this blush has left. Okay, here we have the L'Oreal True Match Lumi Bronze It. I have the shade 01. I have definitely been working on this one this month. It's kind of been like my default bronzer. I've used it 13 times in the past 2 weeks, so almost every day. While everyday use is great, this pan is so large. There's so much product in here. So it's hard for me to have a gauge of how long this will take me to finish up. 5, 6 months? I don't know. I think I'm just gonna keep it on my dresser where I get ready in the morning. It's gonna be my default bronzer. Similar to blush, I like to layer my bronzers so I don't just use one a day. Yeah, maybe 5 or 6 months until it's gone. Okay, this is a fun one. This is the Sephora Colorful Matte Blush in the shade True Kiss. And look how much progress I have on it. I have used this blush 13 times in the past 2 weeks. This blush reminds me of that Dior blush that kind of went viral a few months back. It has this really bright tone, but you can still kind of control it and go for a lighter application on your cheeks. And for me, that's what works really well. I think I'm gonna say 3 months. I'm gonna say 3 months before we're looking at an empty pan. Okay, a panning goal. The Estee Lauder Pure Color Envy Eyeshadow and Cheek Palette in the shade Candy Glow. I wanted to work on these 3 shadows, and I have. In the past 2 weeks, I've used the brown 9 times, the pink 10 times, and the cream 13 times. The cream is definitely the easiest to use for obvious reasons. I can put it on with any eye look, helps to blur the edges when I've made mistakes. I found that even though I'm not a huge eyeshadow wearer, this has been a pretty easy one to reach for. The shadows are definitely showing usage, but they're pretty hard packed at the same time, and I'm not sure how long it's gonna take me to hit pan. Because I don't have a history of using a lot of eyeshadow and hitting pan on them, I have no gauge. 6 months? 8 months? I don't know. We'll just have to see. I'm just gonna focus on this product, have that goal in the back of my mind, and try to get steady use. And it'll be interesting. Maybe I'll learn something new about how long it takes to hit pan on an eyeshadow. Okay, next up is the RMS Beauty Living Luminizer. This is my go-to highlight. I love it. It's very emollient and easy to use. It provides just such a nice finish to the skin. My goal on this one was to hit pan, and I am definitely getting down there. I have used this product 14 times in the last 2 weeks. I'm not sure if the photo captured it, but I can feel it. I can feel that the pan is coming. The pan is not far off. So I'm gonna guess a month. I'm gonna guess a month until I hit pan on this one. Okay, the last product that I rolled in the intro before we get into some of the new products is the Bobbi Brown Luxe Lip Color in the shade Pale Mauve. This is how much we have left, folks. Can you even see that? She's a waif. She's a ghost. There's hardly anything there. We're getting so close. We're getting so close. But unfortunately, this is not the whole story. Part of this product has been decanted into here. I made a lip balm. I wanted to make like a tinted lip conditioner, so I used a little bit of the Bobbi Brown Pale Mauve, a bit of a Marc Jacobs lipstick that I have, and then Aquaphor. And we just swirled it around and they gave me my Nobel Peace Prize in Science. So in order for this to be truly done, I have to also finish this. So while we are getting very, very close, I used this Bobbi Brown lipstick 27 times. 27 times in the past 2 weeks. So that includes reapplications throughout the day. I don't have trouble just keeping track of those. But before I call this done, I'm also going to finish this. Now for rolling in the rest of my products that I have a finish or pan goal on. First we have the Shiseido Color Smart Day Moisturizer. I used this one time in the last 2 weeks, but I did keep track. Because I'm trying to finish the NYX one, I knew this wouldn't be getting a lot of usage, but I think it will once the NYX is finished. We are also rolling in the Well People Baked Foundation. This is my go-to powder currently. I have used it 21 times in the past 2 weeks. Again, I'm not sure how I came to that number, other than I use it for multiple different reasons. Sometimes I use it to set the concealer on my eyes. Sometimes I use it as an eyeshadow to kind of blend out and buff out the edges of an eye look. And then most of the time I use it to set my face. And I tend to count the usages on the eyes and on the face separately because that feels like two different purposes and not something that I do every day. And my goal with keeping track of usages is to get a sense of how long a product lasts. So I want to make note of those days where I use it not only on my face, but on my eyes as well. I'm also rolling in the Artist Couture Prep and Glow. This is kind of a shimmery primer. I use it that way occasionally, but mostly I use it as a highlight, so it's in my highlight category. In the past 2 weeks, I've used it 8 times, and I have started to get the kind of it's not a nice sound, but that's the sound that it makes. There's no way to tell how much product is left. The bottle is completely opaque, but it's making the sound, so I think we're getting close. I'm also going to be rolling in the L'Oreal 4-in-1 Tinted Balm. I've used this 14 times in the past 2 weeks. It's a go-to product for me. I use it for a lot of different purposes. Sometimes it is my base, but more often than not, I'm using it kind of tapped out on top of blush and bronzer when I find that I want to diffuse the look a little bit. So that's why I've used it so many times. And since there's already a pan on it, my goal is to finish it. All right, next up, I'm rolling in the Shiseido blush in the shade Aura Pink. I used it 7 times in the past 2 weeks. It's such a lovely kind of cotton candy, lit from within color for my skin tone, and I really enjoy using it. My goal with this one is to ultimately finish it. I'm also rolling in the Laura Mercier Caviar Eye Stick in the shade Strapless. I've used this one 12 times in the past 2 weeks. Definitely a focus product for me. Used it kind of as my default eyeliner, default brown for creating depth on the outer corner of my eye. And I am so close to finishing this one. As you can see in the picture, it's very close to being done. I think I probably have maybe a month and a half left with this one, especially if I focus on it the same way that I have been. Next is the Becca Slimlight in the shade Pearl. This is kind of the stick form of their highlighter formula, and I want to finish this one. I used it 2 times in the past 2 weeks. Not really a focus product for me, but it is one that I want to keep an eye on throughout the year, and I think I could finish it by the time we get to 2025. All right, getting close to the end. We have the Maybelline Fit Me Blush in the shade Buff. My goal is to pan this one. I've used it 4 times in the past 2 weeks, mostly because I'm focusing on other blushes right now. But because I have the goal of finishing so many blushes that I currently have pan on, I want to make sure that I'm not neglecting those blushes that have kind of no use on them. So I'd like to hit pan on this Maybelline one. And it's a bit of a stretch, but we'll see if I can do it. Okay, last but not least, the Sarat Lid Lacquer in the shade Haka. My goal for this one is to hit pan on it. I've only used it 2 times in the past 2 weeks, but it's also not a product that I generally reach for in the winter time. I'm much more inclined to reach for cream eyeshadows in the summer months, so that's when I imagine I'll gain the most use on it, but it's in the project. Okay, so that is a lot of products. It's 19 products that I would like to either finish or pan this year. And I think I'm gonna be able to do it. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. If you missed my project pan intro, I'll go ahead and link it down below with a couple of other recent videos. And if you're working on a project pan, comment and let me know how it's going down below. Let's cheer each other on with these impossible goals that we set for ourselves. Okay? Okay? Let's not be delusional alone. Where's the fun in that? I think that that's everything. We did it. See you next time. That'll do, pig. That'll do.